Sir, I'm happy to send you pictures of your place, but you realize, it has to be bulldozed. Welcome to my very first deal breakdown. Today, I am going to talk about the very first flip that I ever did. I'm going to go over how I found it, how I funded it, how it went, and then a couple of my lessons learned. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, because this was my very first one, my how did I find it is going to start off a little bit long-winded. So I'll talk about initially how I was looking for properties, and then how I ended up getting into this one. So around 2018, got really into BiggerPockets, and I am really bad with my ADD brain to where I get super excited every time they would talk about a new topic. And so I was really interested in flips, and then I was interested in tax liens, and then just whatever. All kinds of things. I kept bouncing back and forth. I never really settled on one. So yeah, early 2019, I get moved over to Missouri because the Army's great, and instead of letting me get out at my last duty station, I had to spend 1 year there. So while I was there, I did what's called driving for dollars. For those of you who don't know, driving for dollars is more or less going around neighborhoods and finding houses that look beat up, finding the owners, calling them, and seeing if they want to sell to you. So I did this a little bit while I was out there in between doing actual work stuff. And there's a decent amount of beat up properties in Missouri because they get kind of difficult weather, and also most military bases are very transient, and very few people stay at Fort Leonard Wood in particular for very long. So had found a couple, called a couple people, and there was one in particular that I was like, we're absolutely gonna get this one. I was gonna go in on it with my friends because it was gonna take a lot of work. It was this little beat up shack that had like a hole in the ceiling or in the roof, like my body size hole, like straight up 6 feet across. I'm not 6 foot, I'm 5'6", but whatever. There's like a 6 foot diameter hole in their roof. It just completely caved in. We peeked in through the windows, and there was just like sitting snow because it had just snowed. And so I was like, all right, this home has to be bulldozed. Let's see if we can get it for a super good price. Lot values there were like $5,000, $10,000 maybe. So we call this guy up. We finally find him after going through a bunch of numbers and get a hold of him. And he's like, yeah, I'm the owner. I was like, okay, cool. Would you take $10,000 or something? I wanted to start low. And he was like, I'll take $95,000. I was like, sir, I'm happy to send you pictures of your place, but you realize, it has to be bulldozed. You have water that's flooded your house and a giant gaping hole in your roof. This isn't something you repair. And he was like, I've been a contractor for whatever decades. He was going to drive out there and he's going to fix it up himself. That deal did not work, and that house is still sitting. It's probably condemned by the city at this point. But there was my major failure, and that was towards the end of my time in the Army, and then COVID started happening after, so I really didn't do a whole lot. I just kind of figured whatever. I'm just going to go sell houses when I get back. Who cares about investing? And then I got back to Fort Hood. Well, I got back to the Austin area because I was out of the Army now, and decided let's find a property. We kept going through all of these deals. I was going to partner with a buddy. Going through all of these deals and just denying all of them. I'm trying to find this home run deal. It's going to make me a ton of money. And eventually I said, you know what? I need to just do a deal. Let's find something relatively easy and let's just go with it. And so I reached out to my buddies from my school who are wholesalers, and we ended up buying one of their listings that they had for $95,000. So let's jump in real quick to how did I fund this deal. So I know not a lot of people have this option, probably very few actually do, but my buddy and I, when we kind of gave up on trying to find something in Missouri, started a little company so that we could get some funds in order to come up with this and not have to do a hard money or private money lender, because we were really uncomfortable with taking other people's money. We weren't sure how well we were going to do, and we were like, if we lose the money, at least it's just our money at risk. So he was going to run that company, make whatever money that we could, and then I was going to do all the house flips and the real estate side, because he was still going to be in Missouri and was probably never coming back to the Austin-Fort Hood area. So yeah, got a decent chunk of change out of that, and then the rest of it we paid with our own savings. So we did not have to find any kind of lender, which I'll get in a lesson learned. Wouldn't recommend it. And I had gone through and I kind of just eyeballed it myself. I did not go with a contractor, and I estimated about $25,000 worth of work. So that's how we funded it. That was how I got my estimate. Let's go into how did this process go. I got one word for how the process went, and that word is oof. It was rough. I did not do a great job at vetting how things were going to go in terms of the repairs, but I was like, let's do it. I got in there and I was doing a ton of repairs myself, and I am not a very handy person. I also am never going to scrape popcorn ceilings again in my life. I will tell you that is one of the most difficult things that I have done, because you are there for hours spraying the ceiling to try to get it a little bit moist, and then scraping the ceiling as this just falls in your face, and you wear your goggles, and then your goggles fog, and you take them down and you get this in your eyes. It's terrible. Thankfully, no asbestos. Not all popcorn ceilings have asbestos. Yeah, so I'm doing a bunch of the repairs myself. I was expecting this flip to take a month and a half. I took about 4 to 5 months on this flip, and I even ended up bringing a contractor in, so yeah, took a little longer than I expected. I also learned that managing your contractors, is another job entirely. If you are doing a flip and you are having no issues with your flip with your contractor, you are either being lied to or way overpaying for whatever work you're doing. Because in my experience, the contractors who are on the ball and they're organized, they're true businessmen as well as handymen, they're expensive, okay? The ones that you're going to be able to get to do work at the prices that you need to have a solid flip or burr project, they're gonna need a little extra help on the business side, or they'd be doing this all themselves. So yeah, we ended up getting it through, but I definitely overspent. I definitely took way longer than I thought, and I was incredibly stressed the entire time just trying to get a hold of this contractor. It was like pulling teeth, and I was stupid, and I paid money up front for things, and so I had to get him out there to do it, because frankly, I didn't have any money left over to get somebody else in there and just write off, whatever loss I was going to take from this guy. So yeah, it was rough, and frankly, I took a ton of time away from selling houses, which definitely made me take on fewer clients and do fewer sales. So I lost money in that regard, and that is an expense that is not seen on our profit loss statement, because that is the cost of my time doing this work myself. So that's where we're at. I went about $10,000 over budget, so that doesn't sound too bad on a flip, but when this was supposed to be a lipstick on the pig kind of flip, just paint and flooring, that's a pretty huge overshot, because $25,000 to $35,000 is roughly 40%. Yeah. Luckily, I was originally predicting about $130, $135 sales price. The market went up because it was towards the end of 2020, and I ended up selling it for $150. The overall profit was roughly $13,000, and that profit is including the money saved from me not having to pay myself as a realtor. So we both walked away with $6,500, but there was an additional $4,500 out of that that we would have had to pay if we, paid somebody else what I normally charge for selling a house. So yeah, not a very good profit. And then if you take into account the time that I spent on this, I technically lost money doing this flip. So let's talk about the lessons learned. The number one lesson that I have, frankly, is just get in and do it. I know that I mentioned that we made abysmal money, or I technically probably took a loss on this. However, the experience that I gained was so worth it. And that was the part that I wasn't really accounting for when I was trying to figure out what property I was gonna do. A lot of people are looking for these home run or grand slam deals, but the fact of the matter is that you don't walk up to the plate first try and hit a home run. Most of the time, you're gonna have to get a few base hits. You're gonna have to get a little practice under your belt, and then you can get up there and you can hit it out of the park. So you're not gonna get that on your first try. Quit trying to find that unicorn deal for you to start. Just go and do something. Even if you take a small loss, think about it like this. College costs potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. And for the most part, you're gonna get no practical experience. You can go and you can actually get a degree in real estate, but you're gonna spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and you're gonna get out really not knowing what to do still. You're still gonna have to go and you're gonna have to practice and you're gonna have to learn this craft. Or you can go out and you can start flipping some houses and you could maybe lose a little bit of money. Even if I lost $15,000 on this, that's significantly less than I ever would have paid to go to school for it. And I got practical experience, hands-on experience where I now have lessons learned for the next time. So sure, you can say you can just go study this or go to a guru or something, but you're more than likely going to lose more doing that, and you're still not going to have what you wanted to get. So just do a deal. But make sure that you're being smart about it. Please contact me or somebody else trusted, because you can also put yourself in a lot of hot water. I'll talk about another deal in one of these future breakdowns, but there's a guy who tried to do his first, and he's going to be in about $70,000 worth of debt. And that's a rough way to be when you're just starting out in real estate investing. So I'm not saying just go grab whatever, but don't get caught in analysis paralysis. Figure out a few criteria, take on an easy flip. That is, please, just an easy flip. Find something that's lipstick on a pig that's got a very light value add so that your downside is super, super low. Okay, be risk averse, but actually do something. You have to have a bias to action. Lesson 2, find a good contractor and be quick to fire them if you start to have issues, because a lot of them just aren't good. A lot of them do not have business sense, and a lot of them are not going to be trustworthy. I have another project that I'll talk about, but I paid this guy because I needed him to do plumbing under the property. I never checked. He took all of the plumbing out and then left. So with that, when you're paying these contractors, make sure that you are paying according to the amount of work done, and you're checking that work. Either you have to get eyes on and test the systems, or somebody trusted has to get eyes on and test these systems, because a lot of these people will walk away with your money because they know you don't know what you're doing. A good way to work around that is if you have two contractors, you can have a second contractor check that person, because contractors rip each other up. So, keep that one in mind if you need somebody else to check. They're more than willing to tear apart somebody's other work. Don't wait until you have the money to do it yourself. Find private money. Even go through a hard money lender if you have to. Hard money is going to have a lot of fees, but they're really easy to get. private money is absolutely the ideal way to go, and I can tell you that if you have 500 friends on Facebook, and that does not mean people you know personally. I have like 4,000. I probably know 200 of them personally. But this is what you're going to start doing when you start getting into real estate investing, because it's a relationship business. So you are going to have people that you maybe talked to once or twice, or that you just added because eventually maybe you are going to be able to help them, or they're going to be able to help you. So go on and try to find these people, because real estate's sexy. A lot of people want to be involved in flips. They're willing to give you money so that you can do these flips because they just want to be a part of something. And if you go on and you do a couple little videos or pictures of the process, they are going to eat it up, and they will continue investing in you as long as you're not losing them money. But keep in mind, if it's your first time, you may have to pay them a little bit higher rate so that it is commensurate with the risk that they're going to be taking on and investing with you. But I promise you, it is significantly better than waiting years until you can build up the funds to go buy something cash yourself. Because the amount of deals that you're going to pass by just waiting for that time, you could have had triple or quadruple that money at least. So with all of that said, if you have questions about investing in real estate or just buying or selling a house, feel free to let me know. I'm more than happy to go over one of your deals, let you know if you are making a terrible decision or if it seems pretty solid. And if it's not my area, I can always recommend somebody to you in your area. All that I ask is that you consider me to list it when you do actually go to sell, or at least let me refer you to somebody when you go to sell if you're out of my area. But my contact information is going to be down below or up above or somewhere around here, depending on what platform you're watching this on. So feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to chat.